Beyond Barriers, a podcast sharing heartfelt stories of tears, triumphs, and resilience in the world of parenting and supporting people with a disability. Join us as we go beyond barriers to celebrate the joys and navigate the hardships together.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to episode 6 of Beyond Barriers, the podcast.
Hey, guys, we're really happy to be back. We just want to hit you with a little bit of a catch up. What have we been up to?
What have we been up to? So Aiden and I have just been off in Bali for 10 days. So that was really fun. He got a little bit sick, but that's fine.
I don't want people to know that.
Why?
No, you can add that in.
Yeah, because he doesn't want people to know that he gets weak sometimes.
I'm not weak.
Anyway, but we had a great time. It was a nice little reset, but we're so excited to be back with the kids. Obviously, we're coming into the Christmas months, which is super exciting. So we are planning a barbecue for all of our families. So our participants, siblings, parents, we're going to have a really beautiful day. So that's on the 15th of December.
Yeah, that'll be so much fun. And we're just getting back into the swing of things. We've done a lot of urban surf, which is like a new wave pool in Sydney Olympic Park. And we took all the kids and workers there, and that's been really cool. And just getting back into the swing of things, like just doing outings and just rolling again. So no, we've had a really good week since being back, and now we've got some awesome guests lined up. So that leads us to our next thing in episode 6. We've got a beautiful guest in Dora who talks about her son Billy, who I've looked after for about a year now. Mm-hmm. They have a truly inspiring story, and we can't wait for you guys to listen to it.
Yeah, she's pretty incredible. She'll speak about her strength, how her belief got her through, and obviously the incredible story of Billy.
Yes. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hey guys, welcome back. It's episode 6 of Beyond Barriers, the podcast. Today we have a beautiful guest in Dora. I've known Dora for about a year now. She came to us with her son Billy, and Dora has told me this story that is very moving and quite motivating to me, and I've told the story to numerous amounts of people, and it has touched a lot of people, and hence the reason why we wanted to start this podcast. So welcome, Dora. We're very happy to have you on board, and I pretty much just wanted to start the podcast by you telling us just a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your family and what you do.
Okay, so we've got 6 children, 8 grandchildren, blended family, and Billy is my oldest, and then I've got Adriana and Johnny. I'm in the fitness industry, so I train pretty much 5 days a week, personal training and classes. So, yeah, my background is exercise and keeping motivated, and yeah.
Lovely. So pretty much we've had Billy for 1 year, her eldest, and Dora came to us and he was wanting to, have new experiences and have, she saw that we had like lots of male workers and support workers and wanted to kind of have him join in on those blokey activities and what he needed. So Billy's story is very inspiring, and I'm just going to pretty much just get straight into it. Mm-hmm. So tell us about Billy's story. So I remember you came to us and we sat down in a cafe in Tarrant Point, and we met you for the first time. I didn't really know too much about Billy, and I didn't know what to expect. And I left that meeting, that meet and greet, as we call it, when we meet parents of new participants. And I remember calling Indy, and I was with my good friend Jai, who was working at the time and helping me run our choice. And I remember we just left just so moved, and I don't cry often, as Indy would tell you. I don't cry often, but I remember just feeling so emotional and so wanting to try and help Bill, and as much as I can, you can't move mountains, but you can just do your best to help him live a better life. And I'll let you tell the story about him, but just tell me that story that you told me in that cafe.
Yeah. So Billy was an electrician, an apprentice, and he left TAFE because he left school because that was his passion. The day it happened, he actually wasn't supposed to be working, but he did his boss a favour, and he was at Woronora, and the night before he got to bed about 5 a.m. because he picked up his friends that were drunk. And that was Billy's character. He never drank, he never smoked, but he'd always be the guy that would be doing, the driving. So I didn't see him in the morning. I got a call because Billy, prior to that, 2 weeks before that, had a car accident and his ute was written off. So he had a lift. His boss came and picked him up. So it was about 1:30 that day, and that was the day that I said was the dust storm. So it was an eerie day as it was. I was at my niece's with my husband and the police rang. I realised it was the police when they asked me if I was alone, and I said no. And they said, this is about your son. And I knew straight away. I thought, okay, he hasn't got a car. And I said, has he been electrocuted? The police wouldn't say anything over the phone. They said, you need to come to St. George emergency. And I just kept saying, is he alive? Is he breathing? And they said, he's alive, but you need to come straight away. So what happened, Billy was on his knees doing telephone wires. So he was on his knees, not grounded. And the owner of the house switched on the stove. So as Billy got up, he was electrocuted in the head. So it burnt through his head, came out of his thumb. He dropped. His boss realised something was wrong, went under the house. Another boy was also hurt, but not as bad as Billy. Started mouth to mouth. Then a fireman got the call from over the ambulance. So he actually saved Billy. Without him, Billy wouldn't have made it. So he went to the accident and started helping mouth to mouth, and they got him, but he was without oxygen for 20 minutes. So he suffered hypoxia, and so when we got to the hospital, he looked like an angel. He just had a band on his head, lying with a towel, and he was in a coma, induced coma. And then, day 3, they told me he would be a vegetable, that he would not survive. They started calling all the family to say goodbye. And it was that day that I thought all I could see was black around me and black shadows, and it was like death was there. So I told everyone to get out, and I just started praying and focusing on just changing the energy around Billy. And Grandma was with me, and she naturally, as a grandma, did it. And we both just sat there for hours, for as long as we could. I slept there, and he started coming to about 2 weeks into it, but crazy. Like he came out screaming and just not the Billy we knew. And then it was a really long haul. 14 years now you see Billy.
Yeah. I just think that that's such an amazing story, especially knowing Billy now. And how hard is it for you to relive those moments and tell that story?
The strength that I got, and all the family and my husband's support, and it's just made me appreciate what life's about.
Yeah.
And don't take anything for granted, and have faith. Because of the fitness, I knew about the brain stem. Yeah. And that was a question day 3 when there was doctors and, hundreds of people were at St. George Hospital, hundreds, and just waiting to see what was happening. And the doctors said, you need to switch off. He's not going to make it. And the question I asked was, is the brain stem still alive? And they said yes. And then I went off my head at them. I said, you do not go near my son. You do not touch anything. He will survive. And my cousin's a leading doctor, and he saw the MRI and he said, Dora, it's black. There's nothing in the brain. And I said, but the brain stem's alive. And that's all I need to have faith. And that was where I just went full. We had priests coming and saying, to read Billy's last rites, and I tell them nicely, see you later, go away.
That's
Greek, Catholic, whatever they were. It was no, He's not going anywhere.
And do you feel like that was like mother's intuition, that you knew that there was a part of him that was still there and knew you?
Yeah, I knew that if I didn't have faith that I wanted him to stay, he wouldn't. And I felt that he needed me to really have that faith.
Yeah.
And I felt that he came back. Like, I do feel that he was climbing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the day that we were sitting just holding his hand, and Grandma said, "Doctor, my son just moved, my grandson moved." And he said, "Lady, forget about it. He's not going to wake up." And all of a sudden I actually felt heat from my body going into Billy.
Mm.
And that was energy.
Yeah.
And that's when he started showing signs of, so, a lot of people were very, very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just doubting. And I was like a zombie for 3 days. 4th day, I went home, showered, put makeup on, and wore a blue dress. And walked in there, and everyone's looking at me like, okay, now she's gone crazy.
4 days. I just like, I think the part when you said, when we're at that cafe, I think the part that moved me the most, obviously the whole story of Billy getting through that and you guys having that strength to just keep fighting. But I remember you told me at the cafe, and you said, and this is something that stuck with me for a whole year, but like you told me, can my son, when he looks at me, or does he know who I am? And then the doctor said yes, or someone said to you yes, and then you said, well, don't fucking turn off that life support. And like that, honestly, I think I've told someone that story about multiple times, and it's just like, that's like, hearing that your son's gonna have his life support turned off, like how did you find that strength? Like, obviously through faith, but like how, like that's enough to break some people.
Yeah, and the sad story was there was another boy that was in aircon at the same time, same age as Billy, and he actually died. Electrocution as well through the aircon. I just knew in my heart, like, I've lost both parents, and even when Dad, we thought he was going to die. Well, my sister thought he was 2 years before he did. But the day that he did, I actually ran to the hospital, and he was already in a coma. Yeah. So it's almost like, but you accept parents, like as they get elderly. But for my son, I thought, I'm not going to accept it.
No.
Because I felt that he wasn't ready. He's not the Billy that he was, but he is as well. It's just the fact that he can't talk.
Yeah.
And, and I won't ever give up even on that aid. And like, I'm seeing a specialist for his vocal cords, because he's got voice, but he's embarrassed because he sounds different.
Yeah.
But early days, he used to try to say mum, but now he's like, it's just body language.
Mm.
Yeah. And like we can all vouch for that. Like, I know that we've had support workers take Billy out, and they'll run to me and say, Billy tried to say something to me, and I'm like, he can.
He's
like, I have that feeling too. Like, he can. Like, when we go to order something, and like, it does break your heart, because he wants to say something when I take him out. And like, when we're ordering, like I said, like, I give him the option sometimes on my hands, like, hey, do you want to get a burger, or a chicken burger, or a beef burger? And he'll try and voice it, and like, you feel like just saying, come on, like, just fucking say it to me, like, you know what I mean? But like, it's just like, in like the hope that you've like provided him, I think like gives him that strength to want to be able to do more. So that's where I kind of come to, like, so from the accident and now to obviously where Billy is, talk us through that journey and the rehab and that stuff.
So basically we were in St. George Hospital for 6 weeks, and that was a nightmare, because they used to strap Billy up because he just was so angry. He had, like, his whole brain was totally gone, like shocked. So they would strap him up, and I would actually jump in the bed and sleep, overnight with him to calm him down. Police would come numerous times to calm him down. He'd try to escape. He'd do some random things, which did make us laugh as well. So we got into Liverpool Brain Injury Unit 6 weeks after that, and we were there for a year, and that was again funny, sad. He was strapped for probably 2 months, then slowly, because you saw the video that I had done, he couldn't even. They had to put what do they call the throat to feed him?
Yeah.
Tube.
The tube.
So for maybe 3 months, he was just fed by a tube. Day 4 or 5, he had to have an emergency operation. So the hole that came in from the forehead, that couldn't close on its own. So he had the whole top of his head cut and brought down. So he had cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
So he'll never have frowns. God bless him. But after the op, he looked like Jesus. He had 32 staples in his head and all the blood was just coming down. So he had to get over that as well as, the accident and the pain that he must have felt in his head because of that, staples from right around. So anyway, going back to Liverpool, I used to always just think step by step. Firstly, he's got to get up and eat. So I would actually go and just make his arms move, lift his legs. My husband's cousin's a chiropractor. He would come in, massage him. So we tried to get the body activating the brain because they all link. So slowly, he would move his arms, he would move his legs. He started eating fluids, and then it was a really slow process. So by about month 4, he was in a wheelchair, still strapped and in nappies. And then he'd take his nappy off and go around the ward naked. And we, you had to laugh because he was just so determined. And a lot of it is Billy's determination. Yeah. He's a Taurian. He's very strong-headed, always was. So then it was the next step. He had to walk, and he had gone down to 55 kilos. He was so thin. Yep. So then we'd get him up and we'd try to make him walk. And so then that increased and that became better. And then showers, 5 people had to hold him in the shower because he just didn't want anyone around him, but he didn't have the balance.
Yeah.
So then he started showering himself, and then he got OCD. So he went through a stage where he had to have 5 showers a day by himself because he could do it now.
Yeah, he's probably really proud of himself.
Yeah. And then we'd walk in and we had to wash our hands every 5 minutes. So we'd sit down and he'd get us all up, wash your hands. So he did, and he would start doing like a baby, when babies clap.
Yeah.
He would do that consistently. But what he was doing, he was activating his brain like a child, doing the kids' stuff, like tapping his knees for hours. So something in his head was telling him to do this naturally. And the doctor, his neurologist, was totally blown away.
I was just about to ask that, through his rehab, were doctors still shocked about what was happening because they told you that would never happen?
Yeah, and another thing, indeed, Billy was highly medicated at that stage, and some of the medication was making him psychotic. It kind of twisted things so much. So I started reading up on medication, but within the year, when Billy got out, I started doing neurological sort of things for him. So we started neuroplasticity on him, and that was straight away. And that was the biggest difference with Billy's recovery. So, he'd be in a big room shooting little dots and, repetitive things to get his brain active even more. So the doctor back then wanted to put him on this really high dosage of this drug. And I listened to them at first because you had to, you're obliged to. And I had to go see a psychologist with Billy. Anyway, and she wanted to up it even more. Billy got up because he must have understood that it wasn't making him feel right. And he went up to her and he went, No,
Mm.
no. And he came up to me and he said, come on, let's go.
Wow. That's so Billy,
I
hey?
can so even
Yeah.
you know I can just picture Billy doing that.
Yeah.
Same.
And that was like, okay, he's trying to tell me that he's not feeling good with this.
Yeah.
So I started cutting it back.
Yeah. But isn't that amazing that like someone told you he won't be able to think for himself, he won't be able to do anything, and then he's literally telling you like, Mum, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Like that's incredible.
I just think that like there's so many aspects to this story, and you can cover so many different parts of the story, and like you know going to psychologists and going to see people about his meds and stuff. But like I just find that the truly amazing part is that like you got told that you're gonna have a son who's
A
gonna
vegetable.
need vegetable or his life support turned off, and I now see this man go and try and learn to surf on Sunday and go to the gym and laugh at my jokes, which sucks sometimes.
The only person.
The only person who laughs at my jokes, and all through like a mum and family. After you sent me that video of your family supporting him and encouraging him, and like you can't like it's just it's
It is like
It's pretty incredible.
It's like a miracle, Aiden. But it's just having the determination. I think some parents give up too quick.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, my life has changed as well, but in a way for the better, because it's made me just so much more grounded. Not that I wasn't, but it's made me even more so that I put priorities differently now. And as Billy's gotten better, and, you know, like I think I've told you this story, 7 years into the accident, he was like 17 going 18 when it happened. So he was about 21, 22 when he took a newspaper clipping to his carer, and it was about seeing a girl. And he, you know, that was another part of it. Like I thought, wow. So he was so aware of his needs. And now at 33, you know, turning 33, he's a man. So, and he's also sort of spoken to his carer of 12 years that he really wants a family and he wants children. You know, that because naturally he can do everything.
Well, he still wants to do all the things
that he could have.
Yeah, all the things that he could have and all the things that he would have wanted to achieve as a young man, like, you know. So, like, good on him for that. And, like, that's obviously, like, goals that everyone can try and help tick off together. But that's also what I was going to say, like, coming up to, like, his future and, like, future goals, there must be some challenges still along the way. Is there things that you need to talk to doctors about, or like things that he still needs to tick off? Or
no, so we did it because his initial neurologist retired. So we went to another neurologist about 3 years ago and did all the scans, CT, MRI. He actually turned around and he said, I don't understand why Billy can't speak, because his pathways are there. So he said it could be more like a block switch off because of the scare. It's now, everything's fine. I mean, he has a bit of cholesterol, but that's genetic from his dad. But it's getting his independence, because one day we're not around. So we've got to make him ready to be able to live in his own world, like, you know, to have that. And I know his siblings will all be there, but he needs to have that now. And that's why meeting you guys and doing the camps and, you know, that's the first time he's sort of gone away without us.
Yeah.
yeah, wow.
And Dora,
yeah.
to be honest, he's so capable, like because obviously like that's what we're here to do, is to help build independence and like community access skills. So it is easier for parents to let go a little bit.
Yeah.
And he like he tells us when he wants to shower, like when he wants to eat, like he really, like we give him that space to build that independence. And like, it's just amazing. Hey, like when we're at camp, he'll like sit where like he's very independent in the sense that like he'll do what he wants and he'll tell us, like he'll communicate with us that that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And just to give you like credit and a little bit of peace of mind is that he's on the right track. You know what I mean? Like he'll be fine.
We just let him, like even at camp, I just let him go. Like I don't want to I don't want to baby him. Like, I just say,
he
like,
hates
Yeah.
he hates
and he
it.
hates
He
that.
hates it. Like, if I tell him, like, you got 5 minutes for a shower, he'll tell me, fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've got 20 minutes and I know I do. Like,
Yeah.
so you know what I mean? So I would never
You
tell him
can't
that.
hurry him. Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
No.
But I think that's why I just absolutely just love this whole podcast and creating that community, because when you touch on like finding love and finding a partner, like we want to create a community where people who have gone through similar experiences or similar things, or might have a child who has gone through something like Billy and still wants to have those needs in a relationship. Like that's what we want to try and find. So like, this can be also a bit like Tinder. So if
Let me know.
if you want to swipe right, we've got a beautiful young man who is ready to find love, and and that's another thing. Like he's going to have those goals, and like if we can be any help to that as well, that would be huge for him.
So have you started noticing that's kind of the next step for him? Like,
Yeah, look, he's done like even driving. He knows how to drive still.
that's amazing.
So we did the driving test. He passed all the book.
Yeah.
The thing that Billy's peripheral vision has been damaged a little, so that won't allow. He can't.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to. But one day I found my keys missing.
Oh God.
And I went and looked, and they were in his bedroom. So he was planning
Yeah.
to take my
to
car
do the
for a
great
drive.
escape.
So that's, and he did that before the accident. He was 15. We went away and he took my husband's car and drove to my sister's, and she's like, "You haven't got your license yet. What are you doing?" He goes, "Yeah, but I know how to drive."
Yeah.
So, he's got that character that I think he will thrive with a partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is going to give him, and every time we have another baby, like now 8 little grandchildren, you see him just looking at them in awe, and I feel that is another thing that will help him.
Yeah, totally. And like family is obviously a massive thing for you.
Yeah.
You guys have your beautiful Greek restaurant that you've
Yeah.
let us come in and have food there, and it's beautiful. But just touching on family, obviously Billy has 2 siblings.
I've got 3 stepdaughters.
Yeah.
That, Manuel and I have been married now. We're 25 years. So
Wow.
we were both young, and anyway, we had Johnny together.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 stepdaughters, Johnny's both, and then Billy and Adriana.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how, obviously that would affect them quite deeply.
Okay.
How did you manage, and I've spoke about this in other podcasts about like obviously dealing with a brother or sister or sibling with a disability.
Yeah.
However, Billy's incident is quite extraordinary and extreme, and obviously can be quite traumatic too. So how did they deal with it, and then how did you as a parent manage? Obviously that they would be quite upset and they would need support as well. So
all
how
of
did
it.
you manage all your time and energy and effort into everyone and yourself?
Okay. So what I did, I didn't work for 4 months, and the girls were great supporting wise from the gym. They all did the classes and then donated the money to us because I wasn't working.
Wow.
And my husband back then was working as a printer, so he'd work night shift. So I couldn't cook. I had no energy in cooking. That was one thing I just turned off. But I'd get up really early, do the housework, be at Liverpool by 9:30. Then the kids, my husband would take them to school, pick them up, come to the hospital, and they'd stay with me till 9:30 at night. They'd study at the hospital, and Emmanuel would go to work. And that was 5 days a week. So Adriana at that stage was doing a HSC. And she was, because her and Billy were super close.
Yep.
She really, really, I thought she was just not going to make it. Like she broke down. She was so bad. But then she could see Billy improving, and I'd say, okay, so it's not only about Billy, it's about your life as well. So you got to focus on what you're doing. This is your livelihood. So instead of thinking just about Billy, think about your studies. Put your mind into that. Billy's fine. I've got Billy. But you need to do this for you. She ended up getting 95%.
Oh, wow.
So she's, like I said before,
Yeah,
she's now a
super
senior associate lawyer. Johnny was probably the hardest. The girls were great, like my stepdaughters, but it's different when you're not living in the house.
Yeah.
And the girls came every fortnight. Johnny was 10, and you saw in the videos, he was just by Billy's side, hugging him, kissing him, like it was his big bro.
Yeah.
And Johnny went through more anger issues as he got older. Like I think till he was about 16, 17. And he went through a really bad stage dealing with the change. But all of a sudden, like now, he's done a full circle. He's doing a chef's course. He works at our restaurant. He goes to the gym 6 days a week. And he pushes Billy as well. Come on, Billy, you can get up.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Johnny's taken the bigger brother role.
Yeah.
But he respects Billy.
Yep.
And Billy adores him.
Like
So-
that's just, I think
I see that.
Yeah,
Hey? Like
that's-
even at the restaurant.
Yeah, even at the restaurant, like, and I find that just as inspiring as the whole story. Like, I can't speak on Johnny's behalf, but
I've got to tell you this funny story when we went to Greece.
Yeah.
So Johnny was 16 and Billy was, he was 25. Okay. So Johnny was nagging me because his undies had run out. I had taken them down to the laundry. I said, I'm picking them up today. But why didn't you pack me enough? Anyway, he went off his head. Billy all of a sudden got up, grabbed him by the T-shirt and put him up against the wall and said, stop. And I went, okay. So that to me and Johnny never, ever, ever after that was like, okay, I'm still scared.
Yeah.
He's still
he's
my
still
big-
my big
Yeah.
brother.
Big brother duties.
Yeah.
Protecting mum.
That's
Yeah.
so
good.
good.
How did that make you feel though?
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that
I felt
amazing?
good.
Yeah, you would have
You've
loved
got
that.
my
You would have been
back.
like, yes, he's back.
I know.
But like I was saying, like, I can't speak on Johnny's behalf, but like as being a brother to myself and like if that had happened to me and like the impact that would have on my own brother, like just seeing like what Johnny has had to go through and having to support Billy and be there for Billy. And, I can obviously see where like the anger comes from, but to come out on the other side of it, like, my hat goes off to him. Obviously I don't know Johnny personally. I've had 2 dinners with him, which I'm lucky enough to have had, but like, yeah, I'd probably just love to, from me to you, just say to him, like, that's quite incredible.
He's become a beautiful, he's
He's great.
he's very sensitive to people, and he's very soft with when he sees other people and family. So, he's got a thick head as well, like most kids have at that age.
So do I at his age. I'm the exact
at
same age.
24
I'm
hours, yeah.
the same.
You're the millennium kids.
Yes.
But he's, it's made him a better person.
Yeah.
And he's very religious, Satan. Like he studies the Bible a lot, Johnny. And I think the faith, be it whatever religion, but faith in spirituality is a really important thing in life. That makes you so much more stronger and, compassionate to people.
Yeah.
Totally. I think it gives you hope as well. Like it seems like that kind of your belief helped you get through all the hardships with Billy. And it's just amazing to see him kind of, be his best self and to think that like I can't get over people like the doctors say, oh no, just call it. Did you, when you were at that time, what did your family think? Were they kind of on the same page as you, like, let's keep going with that?
They thought I was just, in denial.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
And I, I'm not judging them for thinking that. But I just felt like it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. This is what I'm going to believe in.
Totally.
And I did go back. One of my closest friends, she said, once a week, you've got to go back to the gym. You need to do this. You need to go for you. So I went back after 4 months. She would come and stay with Billy on a Wednesday. And I did like my Kangoo class at 5:30. And I did that for years. So that was probably a really hard thing to do because I had a lot of sympathy.
Yeah.
And I don't like sympathy.
Yeah.
So when I teach, I normally will face the class. Kangoo, you have to face the mirrors. So I walked in and it was packed because they knew I was coming back and they're looking at me with these sad faces. And I just said, I don't want to talk about it. Let's do this. And that actually started me off thinking, yes, I do need this, because the next day I was stronger for Billy.
Yeah.
Because it was hard sitting, and it was not only Billy. You saw so many young kids, some kids that didn't have visitors for the whole time we were there.
So sad.
11-year-olds, or so it was a really sad environment. But we tried to make it fun and change it. And then Billy got like the suite, we called it. He wouldn't walk. He didn't want his bedroom anymore.
Yeah.
So he walked into this visitor's room, and that's where he slept from there on.
Oh, that's the best.
So he would not go back to the dorms. So we had that for maybe 2 months.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. And then when we took him home, that was, he started vacuuming. The first day we got home, we thought, wow, what happened to him?
Who is this man?
Yeah.
But
What was? Sorry.
You asked.
No, what was? I just had this overwhelming thought in my head. I was like, I have to ask.
No, you know what? But like, funnily enough, like, it's just such an amazing story where just like, you're just so intrigued by how you did it, because it's so unheard of and it's so like amazing that you just want to ask these questions, because I don't know how I'd do it. So I'm just hearing how you did it is just pretty special. So ask me a question.
I know.
Thank you.
So was it all up? How long were you in the hospital for all up before he came home?
So Billy's accident was December of 2010, and he got home pretty much, we wanted him home for his birthday. They wouldn't let us. So he got home, it was around September.
Wow.
September, October. So pretty much, 10 months, 11 months, pretty much.
Yeah. And how was that progression from hospital to home? Like, how did you find it when you came home?
It was just a peace that he was back home.
Yeah.
And our dog back then, we had the German Shepherd Grizzly, because I took him to St. George Hospital.
Yeah.
And that was when Billy wasn't well. And Grizzly just sat by his side, wouldn't move, like didn't jump on him, didn't do anything. The day we came home, the dog was jumping on him and so excited. And he was a big boy. And he knew Billy was back, like he was okay. It took time. Like, he would do random things again at home. Like, one day he came out of his room, because we were at Penshurst then, not Menai.
Yep.
And he had his sand shoes on, and I go, where are you going? Like, because he was still not able to go out, and how would he come back home? Like, that was the thing. Yeah. So he goes, I'm going for a jog. I go, okay. I go, I'll come. No. I thought, okay, what's going to happen here? And we live near Olds Park. So I'm now letting him go out, and I'm, of course, following him, jogging slowly behind him, get to Olds Park, and he disappears. So I've got the doctor on the phone at this time. Like, I'm saying, what do I do? Like, he's showing me that he wants his independence, but what if he gets lost? And anyway, he ended up, then Emmanuel was driving, and then Emmanuel's driving around. We're looking for him, because Olds Park is massive. And all of a sudden, we see him come back another way. So then we're running back home to show him that, okay, we're not following you.
The stress.
Yeah, so you're like going after him and then turning around and going,
because Billy wasn't talking, like, how would he, so that was a bit scary. That was a little bit scary. But then at night I'd deadlock the doors and make sure that, but he only did that once, and he understood that he needed companionship to go somewhere. But we did have some testing times as well. Like, one day he had a knife and he was running around the kitchen with the knife because he was angry. But these were medicated days.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
so you
and
found that had a big...
They were changing his personality.
Yeah.
And, he would run around like a rabbit, sometimes screaming, nights where he'd pound all night, like just from the anger, whatever was happening in his mind. And that's when I really started studying the medication.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, everything, like all of it had to stop.
Yeah. And what to this date, what's your biggest win with Billy? What's your biggest moment where you've just gone, what's your biggest win with Billy, and what's a moment where you've just gone like, wow, like
When he's told me he loves me
Mm.
and he understands, and like sometimes you can see him and he's sad, but then sometimes I think he's so grateful that he's still here and he's able, and meeting you guys and doing more now, like it's almost given him a purpose.
Yeah.
And I think at a stage he felt very depressed because it was like, wow, is this my life?
Mm.
yeah.
And it was a cloud over him, whereas I feel the cloud's lifted now
Yeah.
and he sees through that. Like,
Sees a light at the end of the tunnel. a
yeah,
little
and
bit.
he's actually, so I don't know if you ever heard of the Gladiators back in the old days.
Yes.
So Vulcan John has got his gym near us. So Billy was training with him for a while, then COVID hit and everything changed. He actually said to his carer the other day, I want to go back to the Vulcan.
Oh.
So he's starting boxing again with John.
Mm.
And John, when he saw him yesterday, he said, wow, look at the improvement. And that's in what COVID hit 23 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my biggest thing is that I see him improve, Aiden.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think I'm going to rest till he gets married.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to attend the wedding.
We'll be
I'll go,
matchmaking.
That'll be a massive
That's
party.
so good.
That would be cool.
And Dora, just this might be a bit of a personal question, so
Yeah,
you don't have
no,
to
that's
answer if you
okay.
don't want to. But obviously, you have your boy, still with you and alive and everything. But obviously, you must have still feel a sense of loss because he's different to what he used to be. How does that, like, do you still feel that? Like, do you grieve that or?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I used to. I
Yeah.
used to miss the Billy. Like, Billy was very, he was just like he'd ring me and I don't want to start crying.
Mm.
Tissue.
Tissue, please.
Thank you, darling.
That's all right.
He'd ring me on his way home. Mum, what have you cooked? Okay, can you just please make me a nice chocolate and put me a plate of food? I love you. I'll be home soon.
Mm.
But he communicated so much.
Mm.
Johnny, I only hear from him when he wants something.
That's all boys.
Yeah, no, but Billy was different. He'd buy me beautiful gifts. So does Johnny, but thoughtful. He was very thoughtful. And he'd do some crazy things. Like he used to do this dance called the backward man.
Mm.
So he'd wear his cap backwards, put his T-shirt on backwards and walk backwards. I don't know what he did it for. That was his thing.
Yeah.
He would sing the backwards, this song. Or he'd hide in Adriana's cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
She'd have a shower. She'd come out, open a cupboard and he'd jump out at her. He was cheeky but fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the part that I want him to still have.
Yeah.
And he can be mischievous still.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
you
he's
can.
got a little bit of that. And you've seen him. If you were just to look at him, he looks so normal.
Mm.
Yep.
And then people are sort of confused when they talk to him and he doesn't answer back. His balance is a little bit slower now, but he's, I would say, 98% other than the speech.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've gotten used to the Billy now.
Yeah.
I have. And I think because now that he's going away and he's becoming a man,
Mm-hmm.
it's, I've got to respect his needs and who he's become because no one's the same from 17 to
of
30.
course.
We change.
Absolutely.
And that is, he's a man now. So he could have been this way even without the accident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That could have been his personality.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I totally agree. And thank you for answering those questions so honestly and heartfelt, and honestly, I just take my hat off to you guys. It's still, like I said, one of the most incredible stories, and thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing this story because it deserves to be heard because
Thank you.
it does deserve to be heard, and it deserves to be recognized for just the incredible things that you guys have gone through collectively. And I would honestly say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have come out the other side of it and in a great way too. Like, you guys are a great family and great people, and you know, some of the greatest people I've met, and like, especially from those circumstances. So to leave the podcast, and I don't know if you've been a listener of the other ones, but we have one last thing that we'd like to talk about. What is a quote that you live by that either helps you get through your day or gets your family through things, or that could impact someone else?
Never live in fear and never live for tomorrow. Live for today.
Nice.
And don't think, Mum said this quote to me, and it's true, where you are now, I was. Where I am now, you'll be.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how quick the life cycle changes. So, yeah, I just think, you know, we're taught to, you have to, oops, breaking the mic, sorry.
I've done that so many times.
No worries. Can you just transfer me $20 after
Yeah.
this to fix?
We need to have goals, but we need to live for today.
Mm-hmm.
And work towards the goals, but live your day.
Yep.
And don't stress about anything.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's some like really great advice. I can definitely see how things can be taken away from you so quickly, and your life can be turned on your head. So that's so true. Like, you know, after this, I'm probably going to go do whatever I want. You know what I mean? Because, you know, as you just said, like, tomorrow's never promised, and it won't be the same as what today was. So, you know, do what you want and live your life. And you're definitely a big motivator and reason why we should live our life to our absolute best. So
yeah. And if it helps anyone else, just thinking about a change, like what can I do to improve little things that will make a big thing.
Yeah.
And that's what, so I'm so grateful to be on this podcast.
No, we loved it.
Thank you. And yeah, you like, Aiden's right. Like your story kind of made us want to start this, to be honest, because we thought, wow, how many other families have gone through something similar or are struggling or don't know where to find the strength, and like for you to be able to share your story, and you're such a strong woman, and
thank you.
Yeah, you're just amazing,
You're
and we're so grateful to have you on, and we're so proud of Billy. Like, even when we see him from when we first had him to now, he's like just like the confidence, and like he's a bit cheeky, and like he's funny because sometimes he'll get frustrated with us if we're not like understanding where he's at, and I love that about him. Like, he's strong and he does what he wants, and it's his way of communicating, and even that from when we first met him a year ago to now is remarkable. So I just think you've done an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
We're so lucky to have him.
I'll leave you with a quick story. So like Indy said, the reason that we wanted to do this podcast is for stories that I've heard, and honestly, this story gave me the idea. So I'll tell you, we were in Bali this time last year, and I spoke to one of Indy's brother's mates, and he said, "Oh, like, love what you do, love our choice. You know, it's really cool. Love watching your stories." And I said, "Yeah, but you know, the reason why we do it is get this story." And I explained Billy's story, and you know, we're in a beautiful part of the world having beers, and this grown man starts tearing up and crying about Billy's story, and I said, "This story people need to hear stuff like this, because it's incredible. Like, it is so incredible." And I think I've touched on this about 4 million times this episode, but it is incredible. And what you guys have done is just amazing. I can't keep telling you, and I'll tell you off camera and I'll tell you forever, that what you guys have done is just unbelievable. So thank you so much for doing episode 6 with us.
Thank you, Aiden and Indy, for having me on the show. Like, I've enjoyed, and like I said, if I can help in any way, that's what it's about.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's episode 6. Thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.